I have two pieces of advice for you in this clip. I'll try to be as short as possible. The first piece of advice, gosh, I'm tongue-tied today, excuse me, is don't go around people you know do not like you. Don't call them. Don't go around them. Don't pretend that anything. See, y'all got to understand it's a waste of energy to pretend to feel something that you don't want to feel. Now, I've told you in previous audios, we only have 23 hours and 59 minutes of the day. That's all we have. It hasn't changed. That's the way it's been throughout history. We have to learn to use our energy wisely, and part of using the energy wisely is managing our emotions, keeping our feelings and our thought processes in check. It's hard sometimes. But see, during those 23 hours and 59 minutes of the day, we have to deal with the world. We're going to have enough unexpected bullshit that's going to come to us during the day without us creating more bullshit. Okay? So what you need to do is when you realize that undisputably this person does not like you, they've given you every signal that they don't like you. I don't care who pleads or begs or anything else on their behalf, and this includes family. If they don't like you, don't hang around. You're wasting your time. Because what you're doing is you're taking that same energy, hanging around somebody who doesn't like you. You could be spending that with people who do like you and have a better experience. Now, am I saying that that person might not like you tomorrow? I don't know. I can't get into anybody's head. Your situation might change tomorrow. But regardless of the reason why they like you, whether it's your fault or whether they think it's your fault and it's not, or whether it's their fault and don't want to admit it doesn't matter. If they don't like you today, then you don't need to spend 1 minute of 23 hours and 59 minutes of your day with someone who does not like you. Now, if it's a situation where it's an emergency and you all have to get together and do the work, okay, go ahead, do the work just long enough to get the thing accomplished and go along your merry way. That's all you got to do. But no, if you know that person does not want you around, if you're not wanted in the company of anybody, don't hang around. Leave and keep your distance. Now this leads into the other type of people, because sometimes when you have someone who doesn't like you, especially when you got family members or friends or people that you've had a relationship for a long period of time, there might be that third party that might be connected with that person who doesn't like you. And what they want is they want y'all to hold hands and go off into the lily field and sing kumbaya and you know, all Michael rowed a boat ashore and all this old stuff. And the truth is, the other person, you might be willing to work things out, but the person who doesn't like you doesn't even care to want to do that. Don't want to try to increase the communication. Don't want to try to compromise. Don't want to put things out in the open. You can't do that shit by yourself. How long you going to knock yourself out? But see, you want to try to do that to try to please this other person involved. And this goes into the second type of advice that I have. I can't stand people who make excuses for people who have problems. And that's all they do is make excuses. They're not active. They don't have an active plan to help the person who has a problem solve the problem. They don't make any effort to try to help the person solve the problem. They let them be messy and fucked up. And the only thing they do is make excuses for them every time they get into trouble. You know this person's been a mess for 10, 15, 20 years. You know they needed to get some help. You know they needed to get some medication. You know they needed to go to school. You know they needed to leave the baby mama or the baby daddy alone. You know that they needed to keep a job. You know these things, but because they're messed up, the only thing you'll do is you'll get them a job so they could turn around and lose that one because they're not straight. Or you'll co-sign for an apartment so they could turn around and get kicked out because they decided they were going to play Nino Brown and start selling drugs out the doggone thing. You're always fixing him up with some nice girl knowing that he's messed up and all he's going to do is ruin the relationship. You're always trying to provide all these things for this messed up person, thinking that if they just got that one thing that you give them, that they'll be all right. It doesn't work that way. No amount of education, no amount of girlfriends, boyfriends, cars, houses, or anything else is going to help that person because that's not the problem. The problem's within that person. They are messy. They were messy when they were broke, and they were messy when they had money. And because they were messy when they had money, they turned around and became broke again. So now they're messy. They're just messy. And it's an internal problem. And you got this one person that does nothing. Every time that person gets into trouble, it get in trouble in school. They running down there making excuses at the school. What happens? They don't wind up in the school no more. They wind up going to jail. Then the first thing they want to do is make excuses to the attorney and make excuses to the bail bondsman, make excuses to the judge and make excuses to the PO. Make excuses. And that person wind up in and out of jail repeatedly for years. No help at all. Instead of giving them the help that they really need, which is therapy, structure, a program, they need something to help them work on the inside so they won't be so messy on the outside. But this person is too close to the problem and don't have sense enough to realize. They'll exhaust their resources, they'll exhaust their time, they'll lose sleep and everything else when the only thing that they have to do is to take that person to whatever place they need to be taken to give them the help that they needed so they won't be so messy anymore so they can keep some of their resources. And every time you talk to them about a problem that this person has, the first thing that come out their mouth is some excuse for them. These people get on my damn nerves. They really do. Now, I understand if you have somebody close to you and they get involved in something bad and for a little while you're in denial, and that's why you give excuses, because that's why a lot of people make excuses for folks close to them because they're in denial of the fact that that person's going through the bullshit. But see, after a while, they begin to realize that it's not about excuses. They're going to be like, okay, we need to come up with some solutions and some problems. Denial doesn't last forever. But you have some of these people, they know that that person's fucked up. They know it. They're not in denial about it. Instead of giving them what they're supposed to have to stop them from being fucked up, they'll sit there every time that person gets in a pinch. They're quick to make excuses for them. These people get on my damn nerves. Do me a favor and tell me in the comments if you come across anybody like that. I'm sure that you guys have some stories. I'm sure you have that story about that one auntie or that one cousin that's got that messy sister or brother or messy daughter or son. And every time somebody talked to them about something they did, the first thing they want to do is give an excuse. Don't give any solutions. Don't try to do anything to fix the problem at all. All they do is make excuses for them, and they're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. Been going on for years. Tell me these folks don't get on your nerves, because I know they get on mine. But anyway, I just wanted to give those two pieces of advice. Number one, don't hang around people that don't like you. I don't care how much anybody begs or pleads. If you know they don't like you, don't have that energy around you. Don't have it around you. Keep your distance. Don't worry about what anybody thinks about you. And the second piece of advice is, don't be one of these people that see it somebody is in trouble and messed up, And all you want to do is sit there and make excuses for them instead of trying to provide some solutions to help them with the problem. Don't be one of those type of people. Because, see, you just as bad as the person who's fucked up. You ain't no better than them. On that, I'm going to let you guys go. Peace and have a good evening.